Hey, welcome back for another Tutorial Tuesday. This week we're going to switch it up a little bit, and instead of speaking to those of you who are already scrapping right alongside with me and just want to learn neat little tricks, I'm going to talk to those of you who are just beginning. Those of you who already have Storybook Creator or are interested in picking it up, and you need to get it activated and downloaded and ready to go before Creative Memory stops selling it next month. So this is for you. I want to show you some beginning tips, how to get started easily so that you can be getting some pages done and get your memories preserved. So before we start looking at Storybook Creator, I want to show you some of my favorite places to get goodies. Obviously you can get kits right from Creative Memories, so let's start there. If you go to your consultant's site, which is only going to be up for a little bit longer, so get there soon, you can go to Shop Online, Digital Solutions, Storybook Creator, Artwork. And you can go in and you can purchase pages and templates, kits and collections, embellishments. You can purchase any of that today only, August 21st, and then it's going to be coming down. You can also get free artwork. So I hope you're watching this today. And if you go to get some free artwork, you can get calendars, you can get books. And so these are already pre-designed for you. They're kind of like the Snapfish or Shutterfly books that are already set up for you, and you just drop in your photos and add your journaling and you can be done. You can personalize them a bit, move things around if you want, change up colors, but these are designed to be quick and easy solutions. You can get a book done in half an hour, just dropping in your pictures and your journaling and your titles. So any of these that you like, you can go grab and download, and you will have them to use in your program. Otherwise, the kits that I like to grab I get from different designers all over the internet, and most designers have a Facebook page now. And on their Facebook pages, a lot of times you can find free kits and free templates to help you get started so that you can check out their style, and if you like their style, then you can go to their store and purchase additional kits. I kind of compiled a little list of some of my favorites, and this is not an exhaustive list by any means. These are just some of my go-to places when I want to see what their latest freebies are, so I can check out their kits. So for templates, obviously you can get templates from me, but here are some other designers that offer templates, and these designers often have freebie templates up that you can go grab. They change them once a month or whatever. And then for kits, there's a list of some designers I know that offer freebie kits on their pages too, so you can check out their style and go from there. But I am on the Scrap Orchard Facebook page right now because they happen to have a freebie template up, and it's a fiddle-dee-dee design template which comes in page format, which is what you need as a Storybook Creator user. So you can click on this and it will take you here, and you can click this and it will start your download. I'm going to cancel it because I already have downloaded it. So you can go do that again for another designer. So Word Art World by Jennifer has a kit that she offers as a freebie every month. So for August, her kit is a back to school kit. And you have to make sure that you've liked the page. If you haven't liked it, you're not going to be able to download anything. So then if you want it, you just click on it and it will take you to her download page where you can click download. So you can go through my list of, I'll get rid of that, sorry. You can go through my list of kits and template designers that I love, and you can grab what they have up for free right now, and that'll help you get started. So just go ahead and pause the video right now, and you can grab a piece of paper and a pencil and write some of those down, and then unpause me when you're ready to keep going, and I'll show you how to unzip it. So once you're ready to unzip, you just need to go to your download folder, and what you just downloaded should be there waiting for you. So I just downloaded this Fiddle-Dee-Dee Cool Treats 3. Right now it's zipped up, so you have to unzip it. So you right click on it and say extract all. Takes a second. And then you can delete this zipped folder now. We don't need that anymore. And if I go up here, here it is, unzipped, ready for me to use. It comes with the Photoshop file, and it comes with your storybook file, which is what you want, this .page file. Now if I double click on it, it will open just all by itself in Storybook Creator as a separate page, which is great, and I'll show you how to use that. If you work in a book, which is what I do, so that all of my pages are kept together in one place, I'll show you how to put it into a book in a second. Similarly with your kits, any kits that you download will come in here into your downloads folder as zipped kits. I've got a couple here that I need to unzip still, so then you would just right click and say extract all, and then you'll be able to come up here and look at them. So here's the back to school kit from Word Art World. I've got my papers, I've got my embellishments, and there was an alpha with this kit. So once you unzip it, it will be in your downloads folder, and you can move it wherever you want from there. But first we need to actually start a project. So let's create a new project or page. Like I said, I like to work in books, so I'm going to create a project. If you want to just do single page prints, you can. I do 12 by 12 hardcover books, but you can create a whole bunch of different projects over here. So if you have some pre-designed pages that you either purchased from Creative Memories or downloaded for free from that site I just showed you, those are going to show up here. So here's like the I Hope book was free. The Candy Shop book I purchased. There's a ton of different options you can do. I'm going to show you how to do a pre-designed page first, then I'll show you how to use some templates, and then I'll show you how to make from scratch. So it's going to take a little while, so bear with me, but you'll learn a lot along the way. So you can add photos from your computer. I'm just going to pick some photos. Go ahead and create a book. I like to save them on my desktop so that I can find them easily later. And it's importing my photos, and then it will create my pages. And your book comes with 20 pages standard. That's the minimum. You can add up to 80 pages so that you have 100 pages total. So if you come over here, you'll see that you have 3 tabs. You have a tab for your pages, for photos, and for content. So if you look here, you'll see your cover page. We'll click on the cover. And you always want to make sure you check the view so that you can see what the front cover looks like, because see, you lose a lot of that front cover because it gets wrapped around when it prints. Your spine, so if you wanted to put like the title for your book so that you can see it when it's on the shelf, and your back cover, and again you'll lose a lot. So make sure you check in the view menu so that you can see what it will actually look like after you print it, because you will lose sections when you actually print for the wrapping process. But we can go back to your first page, and then you can scroll down and see that you have 20 pages to work with. If you want to add more pages, you would just click on this and say insert one or more blank pages, and you can add up to 80 so that you would have 100 total. But we're on the first page here. You can go ahead and drop in a photo if you want, or if you say, this is great and it's cute, but I really wanted 3 photos on my first page. You can change that. You can move this if you want, and then go ahead and insert empty frames, and we can add 2 more photos. I'm just going to go ahead and make them fit there. If you want them to have a white mat like this, you can hold down Shift and select both of them. Go to Format Photos and select a mat. And theirs is just a white. It looks like it's a little bit thicker, maybe like that. And say OK. And now you can have 3 photos. And you can just drop your photos right in. It's literally a matter of dragging and dropping. Once your photos are in, you have this little cross if you click on your photo, and that will let you, if you click and hold and drag on it, it'll let you move your photos within the frame. The blue magnifying glass lets you zoom them, so you can zoom in, and then you can recenter. Similarly here, you can zoom in and recenter. This one's a little bit darker compared to the other, so you can change that too. Under your Format Photos tab again, you can fix red eye if you have any red eye. I like to do the auto fix. It kind of helps brighten up my photos. If you drag it with the blue box over there, you can see what it will look like. I want it to be brighter, so I'm going to pick the third one. And now it will kind of match my other photos a little bit. You can enter your text if you want some text here. I'm not really feeling this little tag thing here, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just clicking and deleting. Everything's changeable. And then here you can enter your text. Whatever you want to write. When you're working on your text, automatically it will move you to this Format Text tab where you can change your font and your size. So I'm just going to pick something fun. Make it a little bit bigger. You can change the color. And this is one of the really neat features. You can sample from your screen. So if you wanted to pick the yellow from that car, you can pick the yellow from the car, or the pink here, the purple from her shirt, the blue right here. You can pick any color on this page that you want. You can do the paper here. I'm just going to do this paper. And there you go. You can have it anywhere you want. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. You can add any other embellishments you might have from your content. So if you have a kit that you know you want to work with over here, you can go to your content and show that kit. So I have the Cheerful, or the Candy Shop Power Palette, which I know will go with it. Then you can add any embellishments that you have over here. You have papers and embellishments that you can use. And that will be the case for any kits you have. So I can add anything I want just by double clicking. Now when you resize it, if you don't hold down Shift and you try to resize, it'll get, you can stretch it out or warp it. So hold down Shift and you resize and it'll stay the right proportions. And then under the Format menu, you can add shadows. When you're working with the pre-designed pages, they'll already be shadowed for you, but anything extra that you add, like I added these photos, so I'm holding down Shift so I can click both of them, you can add a shadow to them. The shadows really help your pages kind of pop and look more like traditional pages instead of just flat digital pages. I'm going to make sure that has a shadow too. And then you can add maybe a little button or something up here. Again, hold down Shift, otherwise your button will not be a circle still. And there's my page. So I can move on to my next page. I'm not going to save the changes because I don't want to take up time. Alright, now let's say that for this page you said, well, that's great, now there's 3 photos, but now I only want 1 photo. You can change it. You could easily delete these and just have a photo down here and put a big title up here. Otherwise, you can go to your Home tab and change the template. If you want to change it to another page within this same kit, you would pick an art kit. So for 1 photo per page, I have these 5 options. I could pick any of those. Otherwise, if I have 2 photos, I can use these, remembering that I can always delete if I want. You could fill the space with a paper and just use this as your photo. You can change anything up that you want. 3 photos per page, 4 photos per page, etc. And you would work your way through the book, and when you're all done, then your book's done and you can go ahead and print it. If Creative Memories still allows you to print, which is what we're hoping when they come out again in November, you'll just be able to go File, Order, and order your book right there through Creative Memories. Otherwise, you can go File, Save As, and you can export multiple pages. And then upload them, so you can export them as JPEG files, all 20 pages. You won't be able to export your cover page, just your interior pages. And you'll be able to print them through whatever vendor you choose if Creative Memories isn't printing for us any longer. But you have until the end of September to print, so go ahead and get your projects done. And these pre-designed pages are a great way to get projects done quickly. They make great gifts. Even if you want to scrapbook, more from scratch for yourself, these would make great gifts for albums for friends or family members for weddings and Christmas and birthdays. You can get an album done in half an hour maybe, and printed and in their hands Or you can do it for yourself, and this would be a great way to catch up if you're years behind with your photos. You can go ahead and use some of these pre-designed pages and really help yourself get caught up with your photos so that you aren't feeling so overwhelmed with where to start. So that's one idea. That's the simplest form of scrapbooking, is using those pre-designed pages. Next, I want to show you how to use templates. So I'm going to start a new book again. We're going to keep this one blank. I'm even going to not put my photos in right now. Alright, so here's my blank book, and again I have a blank cover page and I have 20 blank pages, and you can add more if you'd like. I want to show you how to use some templates. So we just downloaded that Fiddle-dee-dee template from the Scrap Orchard page. So if we go to change template from your computer, because we have it saved on our computer, so from your downloads folder, if you're not there you have to navigate there. I have Fiddle-dee-dee Cool Treats 3. So if you click on that, here's my storybook page, and say open, and it will put that on page 1 of your book. And you can certainly move it around, just drag, and you can make it page 4 if you want. It doesn't matter what page it is. Now I'm on page 4 down here. So now I have my template. I don't have any photos in my photo section. You can add them. So if you go to where you have your photos saved, so mine are in a folder on my desktop. You can drag and drop them over here so that you have some photos to work with. Otherwise, you can drag and drop them right onto your layout. So if I want to work with this photo here, and maybe this photo here, you can do that. And again, when you click, you'll have your zoom over here, the magnifying glass. You can zoom up, and then use the yellow little cross in the middle to help you move it over. If you don't get right on there with the hand, if you're just above it or something, you'll move your whole photo, and you don't want to do that. So just go up here and hit your undo button, and make sure you stay on that little yellow cross. And then here I can do the same thing, zoom in, recenter. Alright, now it looks like the rest of your page is decorated for you already, but it's not really. These are just the standard colors that they use for their templates. So you want to fill those in with paper, or at least colors from your photos, so that everything coordinates. And then obviously you want to add your own title and your own journaling down here. It just depends on some of the designers, which designer you have. Some of them will have their paper boxes be live boxes for you, so that you can just drag and drop your paper in. Other designers don't do that, and you have to just click and fill your layers with paper. Usually the squares and rectangles you can fill just by dragging and dropping. So if you have a kit open, so if I go to my downloads, this isn't going to coordinate at all, but I'm going to use this back to school kit because I know that you'll have it too today. If I go to papers, I can see that I can drag and drop my paper into the background. See how it kind of highlights? I can drag it back there. But I can't drag into any of these other paper boxes because they're irregular shapes. So in order to do those, I'm going to have to come here, and I can click on like this purple stripe, and I can say cut and fill it with paper from my computer. And you can go to your downloads folder. See if I can figure out how to get to my downloads folder. That's the wrong one. Let's just go up here and I can find it this way. There's my downloads. Okay, so here's my back to school papers, and I can pick a paper to fill it with. And it will fill that middle stripe with that. Alright, this background's a little bit too busy for me, so I'm going to change that. So I'm going to cut and fill it with a color. And again, you can pick any color from your layout. So I'm going to pick just this yellow from this little train guy. There, that's a little bit less busy for me. And while you're at it, if you want it to look like scrapbook paper, and instead of just a flat, you know, washed out color, you can go to your format menu and add a surface and give it some texture. So you can make it, you know, have a burlap texture. There's a whole bunch of options here that you can pick. Some lace if you want. I tend to like this Weave 3, so I'm going to use that one. You can change the magnification and the contrast. And it's a subtle change, but let me zoom in and you can see. Now it has this texture to it. So when I print it, it won't just look like a plain old washed out wet yellow, you know, slab of paint. It'll have some texture to it. Alright, now I like to map my photos. So again, I'm going to click on my photo and go to Format Photos, select Map. I'm just going to give it just one of my, I usually use one of these 4 standard mats. But you don't have to, and you can change your matte fill. You can fill it with a color. Again, you'll be able to sample. You can fill it with a paper if you want. I'm going to just keep mine white, and then I'm going to make sure to add a shadow to my photo. You can do a light shadow, you can do a heavy shadow. You can see how it pops. Or you can choose any of the shadows from the drop down menu. They have all different kinds of angles for the light to be coming from. And while you're at it, make sure you shadow your other photo too. And I'm going to actually click on that red box and make that a white. So I'm going to cut and fill it with white. That way it kind of matches my other one. And then you can go through and fill in all the rest of your layers. So I'm going to fill in both of my blue layers at the same time. And if you come down, oops, just hit undo if you move things. I'm going to come down here and find my 2. So here's a blue layer and here's a blue layer, and I'm just holding down shift so I can click 2. I'm going to cut and fill them both with paper from my computer. It'll pop right back up to that same kit. I'm going to pick this blue. Takes a second, but it will fill those in. And then I'm going to do this purple one with that same paper that I did the other one with. And then while I'm over here on my layers palette, I'm going to hold down shift and click all of those. And I'm going to add a shadow to them. Just a light shadow. You can do a heavy, whatever your taste is. And I'm going to fill in this rickrack too. I'm just going to fill that with a solid color. So I'm going to pick that red from my paper. And make sure you give that a shadow. Alright, now it's time for some embellishments. So for embellishments, I just like to have my paper, or my folder open. And I'm going to go to the Elements folder because that's where all my embellishments are. And obviously I'm going to stay away from the school ones right now, so I'll just use some of these other ones. But I like to just click and hold down Control, and you can select any embellishments in this kit that are going to work for you. So let's see, I'm going to use this one. Obviously you can use some of these other ones if you're doing a school layout. And then just drag and drop them over onto your page. And they'll come over here. I'm going to add a light shadow to them all while I have them all selected still. And then I just separate them and you can place them from there. So I can maybe put this one in. I'm going to rotate it. You've got that little green, lets you rotate. And I'm going to put it right there maybe. Hold down shift and you can make it bigger or smaller without warping it. If you don't hold down shift, it'll warp. It looks stretched out. So keep your shift held down. Alright, and then I'm just going to get rid of some of these other popsicles and things like that because I don't have any of those in my kits. You can certainly fill these with solid colors if you want to just keep the leaves and the flowers that are already on your template. That's certainly okay. You would just go to your cut and fill menu and say, for example, cut and fill that with a color, or you can fill it in with a paper and have a paper flower there. I'm going to just go ahead and delete them. I like that arrow that was there though, so I'm going to copy this one. Just Control C and then Control V to paste it, just like in any other program. I'm going to shrink it down and put it up here. Give it a little tilt. And then I'm going to get rid of these other embellishments. I'm just hitting delete. And you can add your own in, or keep the ones that are there and just recolor them. I'm going to keep the string because I think that's kind of cool. So let me come over here and see if I'm on the string. I am. And I'm going to cut and fill that with maybe some white. Kind of like that. And there's another one down here. So I'll do that one too. And I'm going to, while I'm at it, cut and fill these splatters. I love splatters. So you can see that you're on a splatter over here. I'm going to cut and fill this one maybe with the red. Let's see how that looks. Okay. And then there's another one right now that's orange, and you can cut and fill that in with the same red if you want, or you can switch it up and use a different color. I'm going to stay with the same color. Okay, and if you don't want it to be on top of the other one so much, you can move it over. You can do whatever you want with these templates. They are yours to play with. It's okay if it comes off the page a little bit. It won't print like that, so that's fine. And I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of these last few layers and put my own in. Whoops, I didn't mean to get rid of my arrow, so just undo that. And I'm going to get rid of this and those raindrops, and you can just even come over here and find the layers that are still there that you didn't add in and get rid of them all together. All those little raindrops and things like that. Alright, I'm going to hit delete. So now it's mine to play with, and I'm going to maybe get rid of these down here. And you can go ahead and add in your embellishments. Remember to hold down Shift. There. You can add in your stars. If this wasn't a school kit, obviously I would have more to work with for this layout. But you can copy and paste those stars a bunch of times if you want to kind of scatter them around. I'm going to make them different sizes. Tilt them a little bit. And then do the black one a few times. And then you can even make sure that you move them around in your palette a little bit. So I can take this one that I'm on right now, and I want it to be underneath my photo. So I can put it under my photo. If I want this one to be and this one to be underneath my rectangular photo, I can do that. And they just went underneath everything, so I move them back up a little bit. So they're right underneath my square photo. I want this to be underneath my button, so I can move that. Right now, see, it's on top of my button. It's right here. I want it to be under my button, so I'll move that. And you can layer things like that. Give it a little bit of dimension. Play around with your shadows. Do some heavy shadows and some light shadows. Heavy shadows toward the top, light shadows toward the bottom. You can add your journaling here. Sometimes if you just double click, it will be a live journaling box. This one isn't, so we'll just delete that. And we'll insert our own text box. And you can add whatever text you want right in here. I'm going to make my text white. So you can change your text color. And I'm going to pick a fun font. As you get into scrapbooking, you'll want to go find some fun fonts to use. There are a ton of them. We'll make it a little bit bigger. And you can add whatever text you want. I'm just going to copy and paste this a bunch of times so you can see how it will look. And you can see that maybe white wasn't such a great pick because I can't really read it very well. So we can just go back in and highlight everything and pick a new color. Maybe I'll do the red. Pick a little bit darker red than that. There we go. Say OK. There, I can see that a lot better. You can play around with the justification if you want it to be right justified maybe. Just make sure now that you go and check your view, because when you print, you're going to lose a little bit of your page, the bleed zone at the edge. So right there will show you what it will look like as a page print. You can see I'm okay, I'm within the colored space. Or you can look and see what it will look like as a 2-page if you're going to print it in a book. So that you can see now my writing is maybe a little bit too close to that gutter in the middle where the pages meet. So I'll click on this and then resize it a little bit and then move it over. I'm just using my arrow keys to move a little bit, kind of nudge it. And there you go. And then you just need a title. And again, if you double click this, you're not going to be able to edit it. It's just like a sticker, so you can delete it. And if I'm not going to use an alpha, which you could, because I have a cute alpha with this kit, we can say Green Bay or Bay Beach or whatever you want. I'm just going to say Bay because it won't take me so long. So you can kind of see how I would do it. I'm going to click those 3 letters. I held down Control so I could click just those 3. Drag it over. Move them down into your page so you can work with them. I would do Bay Beach if I was going to do this for real on my page. But you can do that. You can kind of get them lined up how you want. If you click on 2 elements and then right click, you can align the bottom of them so that they're lined up perfectly. You don't want to do that with the Y because then it would bring the Y bottom up like this. So we can align the top of the Y with the top of the A. We'll say align top. And I'm just going to nudge it over a little bit. And I'm going to group them all together. So if I have the 3, you can right click and group them together. So now it's grouped together as one sticker here. And if you want to change things around, you can, but it'll move together now until you right click and say ungroup, and then it will break it back into 3. But now that I have it grouped as one, whoops. Now that I have it grouped as one, I can hold down Shift and resize it. And I can rotate it, and they will all rotate together. And then I can position it where I want it. And make sure that you add your shadow. I shadow everything except for my text and maybe some string and confetti and things like that, but everything else gets shadowed. You can position it however you want. Obviously that would say Bay Beach for me, but that's good enough for now. And you can finish moving your things around and finish up your page. Add whatever else you'd like. So that's how you can use templates. So you would go to your, I'm not going to say the changes for this, but you can go to your blank page, you can say change template from my computer, and then you can go to wherever you have your templates stored. So I have a folder on my desktop called templates, storybook templates, and then I have all my storybook templates here. So that's what I would recommend, is just having a folder where you can keep everything organized, and then when you're ready to pick out your template, you can come here, pick one out, get started, you know, throw your photo in, add your journaling, and you're done. Templates they take longer than the pre-designed pages, but they don't take so much time like you're scrapping from scratch. So you can do that. But let's say that you want to scrap from scratch. We can do that too. So I'm just going to just view my page, and we're going to start a blank page, and let's say that you have 2 photos you want to use. So I usually get my page set up first, so I have kind of an idea what I want it to look like. I go ahead and put a box for my background, and you can just give it a color so it doesn't just look gray right now. Just picking a random color here. Maybe I want to have like a strip here. We'll put it off to the side a little bit. That way I can have some more paper. Oops. Insert another empty frame for my photos. Let's see, maybe we'll go like this. And then another empty frame for my other photo, and I'm going to kind of have them overlapping this time. You can click and use that little green circle to rotate your photos. I like to have my photos matted, so I'm going to go to Format Photos, select a matte. I'm going to make it even a little bit thicker. We'll go 3. I'm going to give them a shadow right away so I don't forget later on. and I'll give my paper layer here a shadow. And maybe we'll do one more paper layer that goes across. That'd kind of be a neat look. Obviously I don't want it on top of my photo, so over here you just click and drag it down. And you can decide whether you want it to be on top of the vertical one or underneath. I'm going to put mine underneath, give it a shadow. And now my page is kind of set up and ready to go. So I'm going to pick a different kit. So I have a lot of kits in this new scrapbooking to import because I haven't imported them yet. And you can pick any kit here that you want. So I'll just pick this one from April Lisa. And I'm going to drop my papers in. So I'll drop, this can be here. Maybe this pink back here. And we'll go with a blue paper for the background. And maybe we'll do a solid blue, because that's a lot of pattern. Okay, now I can drop my photos in. So go to where you have your photos saved. And I'm just going to pick 2 photos. From our dance recital last weekend. Again, you can zoom in and recenter and do whatever you want with your photos. Fix any red eyes, adjust the coloring, anything that you want. And now you can add in the rest of your embellishments in your title, in your journaling, and everything else. So I'm going to go back to my folder here. And I like to just hold down Control, and I'm going to go pick all of the embellishments that I like. You don't have to use them all. I can delete them afterward if I decide I don't want them. Just drag and drop them over here. Oh, you can't see them yet, but that's okay. I'm just going to give everything a light shadow. And then in your view, you can say View All, so that it'll show us that extra workspace over there. And you can move everything around. Add it to your pages how you want it. Add a little paint splatter because I like paint splatters. That I do not want to shadow, so go to Format and say Remove. I don't shadow paint splatters. And the color isn't really working because my blue is getting lost on my blue paper, so I'm even going to change the color. Let's see what it looks like as a white paint splatter. Okay, I'm gonna stick it behind all my photos so it just kind of peeks out. So I could come over here and slide it all the way down underneath everything, or you can just group it with your background paper. So hold down Control and click on your background paper and then right click and say Group, and it will move that down with your background paper. Then you don't have to sit and drag it down over here in the Layers palette. And then right click again and say Ungroup to break them back up again. And it will stay down underneath. I can add in maybe this ribbon across the middle here, and I'm going to drag it down so that it's underneath one but over the other. Can add in maybe this, oh that's kind of big, but we can make it smaller. Add in a little string here, just for a little dimension. I like to put string on top of buttons, and I don't remember seeing a button here. So I'm going to go grab a button out of my kit, out of a different kit. So over here in your content, you're going to have access to everything that you've already imported, and I'll show you how to import in a second. But if you go to your embellishments, you can tag your items, and I'll show you how to do that too briefly. I have a different video that will go into more depth with that. But you can tag your items like with buttons, for example. So then it will pull up all 378 buttons I have in all of my different kits. So I can go down and find buttons. If I want even more specifically a certain color button, like maybe a blue button here, I can also click on blue and say show me just those tags, and it will just show me excuse me, the buttons that have blue in them. And again, I had to tag that, so it took some work. But now that it's done, it's much nicer because I can just go through these 100 buttons instead of the almost 400 buttons I had before when I wanted a blue button. So I like this button works, so I can say Add to Page, and there's my button. I'm going to size it down a little bit. and then give it a light shadow and drag it underneath my string over here. So there I have a button now. You can, maybe this will be like my title today, and make them a little bit bigger. So I'm just holding down Shift. There we go. I can insert my journaling. Journaling is important. These pictures aren't going to mean anything 30 years from now if you don't have any journaling down. You're not going to remember what happened that day or why it was so special that you wanted to take a picture. So you're going to do your journaling here. I'm just going to journal, you know, gibberish for right now. I'm going to make it white because I like white journaling. And let's make it big and change the font. It might be a little bit too big. You can do whatever you want with your journaling. Just please journal. You can have that here. You can change the color if you want. I'm not really going to be able to journal on top of a piece of string if I was actually scrapping, so I'm going to put that underneath my string. That's okay if you lose one little bit of your letters there. Then you can add the rest of your embellishments wherever you want, and you're done. Your layout's done. It's a cute layout. You can go ahead and save it. If you want to share it with me on Facebook, I would love it. To do that, you would have to save it as, you would select this. After you save it as a regular page, just save it as a storybook page, but then come back and then save it again as a JPEG. And so right here you would pick a JPEG, and you would save it as whatever you want. And then when you, I can't do it right now because I haven't saved it yet as a regular page. Let me save it first as a plain page. Takes a couple seconds. Alright, so now that it's saved, you can go File, Save As, Export Current Page, and you want it as a JPEG. And you can pick wherever you want it to save. It will give you options for quality here. Now if you're going to save it to upload somewhere to print, you want to print it, you save it as a high quality file with a 10 here. If you're just putting it on Facebook for me to see, or your friends to see, you can drop it down to like a 2 and then just say save, and it will reduce the quality like if you were going to print, but it will look fine on the page still on the computer for on Facebook or wherever you want to share it with your friends and family. And then you can upload it to Facebook just like you would upload any other photo. Okay, so I showed you how to do the pages from the pre-designed pages. I showed you how to do pages from templates and from scratch. Now I want to show you some of the other neat features before I let you go here, so that you know what you can do with your storybook, and then I'll show you how to import your kits once you have them downloaded. So if I were going to work with these two, right now I have them off-centered, and I kind of like that, but if you wanted to align them, you would click on both of them, so hold down Shift so that you can click on both, and then let go of Shift and right click, and you have your Align tool. And you can line them up by the left, and it will line up their lefts. You can line up their rights, and it will line them up that way, or you can center them together, however you want them to be. But if you right click, you have your Align tool, and you can line up the tops, the middles, the bottoms, left, center, or right. And it will align according to the second one that you select. Okay, the second one that you select. So if I select this one first and then the yellow one, it will bring my blue one over if I line up their lefts. Or if I select the yellow one first and then the blue one, it will bring my yellow one over if I line up the lefts. Okay, so whichever the second one is that you select, that's the one it's going to use as its guide. So you've got your Align tool. I use that a lot. You can also do your sizing if you wanted these to be the same size. Smile is smaller right now than Sweet, but you can right click and say make them the same size. Just be aware that it's going to warp it a little bit. See how it kind of stretched out Smile to make it longer. If you don't like it, you can always hit undo right here. So let's walk through our menus up here, and I'll show you, make sure that we've touched on everything that you can do here. Alright, so from the File menu, that's where you would save. Open new projects or save. So cancel there. Home, is, I mean, you have your undo button, but you have your undo button here anyway. You have your copy and paste, but I usually use Control C and Control V for that. You have your align tool, but I do that when I right click. So you could do it here if you wanted, align, if you didn't want to have to right click. You have the same options. Order is where you can move things forward and backward, but I just usually drag over here to move them forward or backward, so I don't use that at all. You can add a page, but you can also do that over here from your pages. You can change your template, so that's what I use from the Home tab, is I would change my template if I want to change my template. You can do all kinds of things. You can coordinate the colors on your page. Play around with it, see if you like it. I'll kind of show you what it looks like real quick. It would help everything on your page kind of coordinate and be the same color. So let's see what it's doing for me. I guess it didn't change mine much. But sometimes when you do it, I have to click on if I click on like this blue paper and say coordinate colors, it will coordinate everything to kind of go with that blue. Give it a second to work. So you can see it's changing the like the embellishments here. It gave them more of a blue tint. It changed my ribbon blue, my button, made my button over here a little bit more blue toned. So you can play with it and see. Sometimes it helps coordinate elements that don't really come from the same kit. But really from the Home tab, I use the change template, and that's about it. From the Insert tab, I don't ever use Insert Photo. I always insert an empty frame and then just drag and drop my photo in. I like to have my photo set up and ready and placed where I want it before I have my photo in there. So that's what I do. You can insert your text. And let me show you what some of these other text options do. So if you have your text path, you can have text that kind of curves around, and I like to use it like if I have a butterfly trail, if I have a butterfly embellishment or something like that, or if you have a circle that you want it to go around, you can do that. So then you would click here to edit your text, and you can say, this is what a text path looks like. You can change your font and your size and your color and everything just like you would before. And then when you're done, it will be right along that path, and you can keep going. So you can see what it looks like. Okay, so that's a text path. You can also insert fancy text is text that came, or alpha that comes with your Creative Memories art kit. So if you have any of those, you can type in whatever you want it to say, and then over here you will have any alphas that come with your kits that you have. So these are the alphas that I have. There's a white one from the kits that you have purchased from Creative Memories. If you don't have any of those, then you won't have anything in your fancy text to use. That's okay. But if you like that one, then you would say select content, and it will create something that says that for you. And then again, you can resize it as long as you hold down shift so you don't warp it. And you can place it wherever you want on your page. A text shape is kind of similar to this fancy text, except that you just get to use fonts on your computer. So I can type in dance recital again, for example, and then I can go ahead and use any font on my computer. You can bold it, you can change the color if you want, you can fill it with a paper if you wanted to do that. So I can select a paper. It has to be a paper that's already imported though, so if you haven't imported it yet, you're not going to be able to use it. Let me just pick something here. Okay. You can even give it an outline if you want. So I can outline it with like white or any other color. You can see what it looks like when I'm done here. So there I have my dance recital. Again, you can hold down shift and resize it if you want. You can give it a little shadow to pop it up a little bit. And you can put it anywhere you want. I mean, that probably wasn't the best color choice for my page, but you can have it right there if you want, or make it smaller so it fits right on that ribbon. So those are your text options. You can do just a regular text box for your journaling, a text path, a fancy one for your Creative Memories alphas, a text shape is what I just did here, And then symbol is just like if you want, you know, other symbols. You can insert your embellishment in papers here, but I don't usually. I just have my other folder open and just drag and drop what I want in. Okay. From the Arrange tab, I don't ever use this tab. I can do everything I want just by right-clicking on them. So again, this would let you line things up. If you wanted to do that, line them up center, line them up right. Just another place that you can do your lining. You can move things forward and back, but again, I just drag over here if I want to do that. And you can group and ungroup, and again, if I wanted to group those, I would just right click and say group. But if you don't like to right click, then by all means come to your Arrange tab and do it there. Cut and fill is where you can fill your papers with color if you want. Also, you can cut, and we didn't really cut it all, but you can. So I've inserted this paper, this stripy paper here, and I can certainly zoom in if I want my stripes to be, you know, bigger or smaller. I can, doesn't really matter for this page, but I can move it up and down and around. But you can also cut edges. You can give it a ripped edge or a shaped edge. So I'm going to show you how to do a straight edge here. And this one I have selected as just a scallop, so I'm going to pick that. I'm going to move it over to the edge. And if I say cut, I will have a scalloped edge now. There you go. And now I'm going to do it for the other side. So I'm going to do shaped edge again. And to get it to on the other side, you have to actually rotate it around. Whoops, where did it go? Let me try that again. I must have gotten rid of it. So I don't want it to be crooked. Let's straighten it out here. There we go. Move it over to the edge. And cut. And it will give me a scalloped edge on that side too. So you can play around with your cutting tools there. Well, now that I have that, I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And there we go. You can do your corners, so if you wanted to like round the corners on your photos, you can do that. Let me get rid of my mat, so otherwise it'll cut my mat off. But if you wanted to cut your corners, you would go to the cut and fill and do your corner cutters. Once you cut your corners, you're not going to be able to zoom in or anything on your page, so make sure you have it how you like it. And you can pick a corner with the corners that come standard with your program. So I'm just going to do a rounded one, and it will round my corners for me. And you can round your corners on any papers you want. You can round your corners on your photos. You can do whatever you want, round anything you want. So you can do that. From the cut and fill, I mean, there's also a wand and a custom tool, which are really neat, and you can watch some of my other videos on how to use those, but that's not a beginner topic. From your color, you can adjust color on anything you want. Again, that's more in depth, but you can play around with it as you want. This is also where you would make your photos black and white or sepia, if you choose to do that. From the format menu, your shadows, that's where you're going to find your shadows. And your surfaces, if you want to give like a plain colored background, a neat surface, you can do that there too. Format photos is where you can fix your red eye or fix your coloring and add a frame. Or if you have a photo that's sideways and you bring it in, so for example, if I wanted to use this photo in this box, it's going to come in sideways because that's how it is over here. If you go to your format photos box, you can rotate it so that it's upright. And then you can drag it down. I mean, it's not the best picture for that box, but you can always make the box taller if you want so that you can see people better. Alright, so that's your format photos. That's what you can do there. You can do your mat, rotate your photos around, touch up your photos. Format text is where you have control of your text. We looked at that. And then view is where you can check and make sure that you are not cropping anything off, so check your trimmed mode. Maybe my photo's a little bit close there, so I'm going to put my old photo back in. I'm just going to hit undo a couple times so that my old photo comes back in. There we go. And you can check the 2-page mode if you're going to be working in a book, so that you make sure you see I'm losing part of my title here. So you can move that back over. You don't want to get too close to the corners there when you're going to be putting it into a book. Okay, so that's the basics. Those are your tools that you have to work with. I have a bunch of Tutorial Tuesday videos up. You can check out any of the other ones once you watch this one and kind of learn some more tricks and tips. But I also want to show you, while I have you here now, how to import your kits. So if you don't want to learn about that, you can go ahead and close me out now and just go start working with your program. I do have another video that will show you more in depth how to import your kits and tag them, but I want to show you just basically how to do it quickly. So from your welcome screen, you can import content. Commercial kits are kits that you get from Creative Memory, so assuming that you've downloaded these other things from all those places on Facebook that I showed you, it's called a personal art kit. And I just import everything into one massive folder that I call extra embellishments. So all of my kits from all of my designers that are not Creative Memories go into my extra embellishments folder. And then from there I tag them with the designer name and the kit name so that I can find them easily. And then I also tag them buttons or stripes or polka dots or blue or red or whatever I want to tag them, flowers, so that I can find what I want later on. So you would say import. Otherwise, if you want to create a new kit for each separate kit that you download, you can do that too. But I'm going to just put everything into my one big one. So here's my extra embellishments folder. You can see I've got 3,000 pieces of paper here, almost 9,000 embellishments. If I want to import more, I'm not going to do it right now because it'll take a long time. I would say import embellishments. And then I would come to my downloads folder. I'd go to my back to school kit, hold down shift and pick all of my embellishments, and I would say open. And then it will import all of your embellishments and it will put them down here at the bottom. And then from there you can tag them all. So here's a kit that I already have imported. It's a Chocoholic kit. So you can see if I click on all of these things, these are all this designer's kit and this is the name of the kit. So to do that you would just type in here whatever you want to tag them with and say add, and it will tag them. I also have, like this is tagged with bows and red in addition to the designer name and the kit name. This one too, this one's bows and brown. This one's buttons, and I could tag it white if I want, and then when I search for white buttons this will come up. These are flowers, so I have brown flowers. This one should say white flowers, so I'll add white there. This one is a red flower. And I've got hearts, so you can tag whatever you want, and I'm going to do white again, white hearts, brown hearts, red hearts. So you can go ahead and tag anything that you want there. I've got tags for my frames, I've got tags for title blocks, so these are titles. I've got a tag for tape, so I would tag this with tape. Okay, so you can tag, 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 and then when you're working in your book, if I want to go to my content, I can go here and go to tags, and I can search for my hearts, for example. Go to hearts, and all of my hearts will be here. I have papers that have hearts on them if I'm looking for a paper with a heart. Otherwise, I have my hearts down here, and I can go ahead and find what I want. And so here are the hearts from that Chocoholic kit. Otherwise, I can, if I have a designer that I really want to use or a designer that I really like, I can go and pick that designer out. So here's that designer with the Chocoholic kit, and I will have that kit there. And it happens to be the only kit that I have embellishments for from her, so that's all that shows up. Otherwise, I can pick Bella Gypsy, and all of my Bella Gypsy kits that I have imported will show up, and I can use anything from hers. Or I can just pick a certain kit like the Birthday Bash kit, and so then that stuff will come up. And if I say select kit, then it will bring it over here for me, and I can play with the papers from that kit and the embellishments from that kit. And then I can just take my papers and drag and drop them over here into my spots that are live. Okay, otherwise I can click on the spots that are not live anymore, that I've, cut or whatever, and I can say fill that shape. And it will fill that shape with that paper. And then let me pick a paper for the background. And just drag and drop it over. See how it kind of highlights? That means that you can drag and drop it. This is a busy looking page all of a sudden, but then you can go over to your embellishments and you can pick any embellishments that you want and add them to your page. size them however you want. Okay, so you can work with your kits if they're imported over here. Otherwise, if they are not imported, you can just have them open in a folder and drag and drop what you want in. Okay. One other way that I work with kits that are not imported yet if I'm in a book is you can go to your photos and you can actually put your embellishments and papers that you want in there, and then it's like you've imported your kit, but it's not really imported. You don't have to go through the hassle of actually importing, but you can still drag and drop your papers and what you want in that way. So then you don't have to import them, and you don't have to have the separate folder that you go back and forth from. Okay, so you can just go to your photos box here and drop all those. So now all of my embellishments and everything are right here, and I can move them around and use them however I want. Alright, I showed you a lot today. It was a long video, but take it a little bit at a time. Maybe start with some of the pre-designed pages if you want. Go to some templates. Templates are the next easiest. That's probably what I use most of the time. And then from there you can kind of play around and try to make some from scratch. Just remember that I like to set my pages up first. So from the insert menu you can start inserting your boxes and then just fill them in with your paper and your photos and go from there. Okay, so let me know if you have other questions, things that you'd like to learn more about, and we'll use those for a future Tuesday tutorial video. I'd love to hear back from you. Thanks a lot for joining me today.